If you happen to be strolling along the promenade of the Isle of Man's capital, Douglas, you're in for a treat. This stunning building is the Gaiety Theatre. The Gaiety Theatre first threw its doors open in 1900. That's 125 years of applause and curtain calls. Will someone get that phone? Oi, you two, stop gossiping. Pick up the phone. 16th of July, 1900. The curtains lift for the very first performance at the Gaiety Theatre. The Telephone Girl. Ada Blanche, a leading musical comedy actress, was the star of the show. And it was actually her birthday that day too. The plot for The Telephone Girl centres on a telephone operator eavesdropping on a call between her boyfriend and another woman. Back when the Gaiety first opened, those lucky enough to have a telephone in their home would make their calls via a telephone exchange where operators, or telephone girls, would manually connect calls plugging cables into jacks on large switchboards. An article in the Isle of Man Times, published 21st of July 1900, covering the Gaiety Theatre's grand opening, doesn't miss the opportunity to curse the time it took for those so-called ring-ups to connect calls in those days. Even bishops, the article says, have been known to secretly blaspheme whilst waiting for the ring-up. When Frank Matcham got the call to design the Gaiety Theatre, he was already a highly acclaimed architect working on the London Hippodrome, which opened its doors just months before the Gaiety Theatre. Next up was the Hackney Empire, London Coliseum and the London Palladium. This fella was the busy architect behind all those iconic buildings. The Gaiety Theatre developed and replaced the existing theatre that stood there, the Pavilion. Check out this photo taken during those 1899 building works. Those with vertigo need not apply. Fast forward over 100 years. This glorious building featured as one of the locations for the 2008 movie Me and Orson Welles. But a whole lot happened in between and afterwards in this dimension and also beyond. Apparently, the Gaiety is host to a number of ghosts. Perhaps this was the place they were happiest on this mortal plane. A lady dressed in black wanders within the shadows of the corridors and stairs. A gentleman sometimes sits in one of the boxes overlooking the stage. When he stands up to leave, he vanishes into the wall. Back in this dimension, imagine the scenario. You're starring in a performance on the Gaiety stage. The spotlights are in your face. The audience are hanging on every word. But you have completely forgotten what you need to do next. Cue. A ghost known as the Helping Hands. Helping Hands is kindness from another realm, waiting in the wings with hushed prompts, softly guiding lost actors on stage. Meanwhile, the lady in seat B14 sits and observes. She's an elderly lady who fades into this dimension to watch the occasional stage show. Unless it's a packed auditorium, seat B14 is often left empty just in case she fancies watching the performance. Whilst waiting for the show to commence, I'm sure the lady in seat B14 has often admired this backdrop, painted by William Helmsley in 1899. Now restored, this rare Victorian backdrop is uniquely intact and still used today. With all its fine detail, you can almost imagine that dance itself. It's said the lady in seat B14 tragically lost her husband in the First World War. The war's impact on the island, as elsewhere, was massive. The Isle of Man sent 8,261 men to the Great War. The island's population back then was around 52,000. But by 1918, over 25% of those who left these shores to help with the war effort were killed, wounded, or missing in action. Of those, more than 1,100 lost their lives. The First World War took its toll on the Gaiety Theatre. Before the war broke out, the Isle of Man tourist boom was at its peak, with more than 600,000 people visiting the island in 1913. But in 1914, it all changed. The world would never be the same again. As the years rolled on and the rise of cinema lured audiences from theatre seats, the Gaiety chose to leap on that rollicking bandwagon roaring in from Hollywood and set up its own state-of-the-art projection room in 1932. The Gaiety was no stranger to technology. In the preceding decades, it was a trailblazer on the island for this newfangled thing known as electric lighting. The Gaiety's lights were powered by the theatre's own generator. Good job it's down in the basement because it was probably pretty noisy and a bit fumy. That's not the only thing lurking in the basement. Ooh, check out those signatures from visiting performers over the years. The basement is also home to some of the most incredible stage machinery, like the Corsican Trap. It's probably the last surviving example in the world. But what's a Corsican trap? Well, the clue to its name and function is found in the play The Corsican Brothers. The plot requires a dead man to emerge through the stage floor and glide across the stage in a ghost-like manner. There's no getting away from those ghosts. So, here we are under the stage itself. The actor steps on the platform and is winched up, gradually emerging on stage thanks to the hidden sliding floor. It's probably also handy for those scenes when an actor is heading upstairs. During the Second World War, the Gaiety was used mostly as a cinema. Cinema audiences soared during the war. There was no breaking news flashing up on TV or phone screens back then. Cinema was where people gathered to watch newsreels from the front line up on screen prior to the main feature. Cinemas were also a warm place of escape to take in movie hits of the day. The British film industry shifted gear and took on Hollywood head-to-head with wartime hits such as The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp and Millions Like Us. Entertainment fused with a wartime narrative and purpose. But despite all the innovation, the stunning decor, and a steady stream of phenomenal plays and performances, the Gaiety fell into decline and disrepair. By 1970, the shadow of the demolition wrecking ball loomed over the Gaiety building. Thankfully, the Gaiety was saved. The Isle of Man government bought the place in 1971 and renovation works began. Roll forward to the 1990s and the Gaiety was given the full star treatment with a decade of renovation works to bring this beauty back to its former glory. Carpets, paint colours and wallpaper were all painstakingly selected to match the Gaiety's interiors of when it first opened its doors in 1900. Home to umpteen incredible stage shows through the year, the Gaiety is an Isle of Man gem. In 2024 alone, a total number of 80,000 folk flocked to those plush seats. Just remember to leave a space for the lady at seat B14. Happy 125th birthday, Gaiety Theatre, you absolute treasure. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Right, we're off to take a ski at another part of the island. Come and join us.